Hello everyone and welcome back to the KukieKnits podcast. My name is Ira and I'm your host here. I'm a knitter, an occasional cross stitcher, occasional sewist, coming to you from Sydney, Australia. This is episode 20 of my knitting podcast here on the internet, and this is just sort of where I take you guys along with me on my making journey. And I'm also available on Ravelry and Instagram as KukieKnits. And thank you so much for joining me. If it's your first time, hello. If you're returning, hello, hello. And let's get started. So my first finished object today is what I'm wearing. This is the Calm Down Tee by Lily Kate France. Lily is one of my favorite designers, and I had this very special yarn. This is the Noro Kakigori in the colorway Otaru. I'll have a quick stand up so you can have a look. So I originally got one skein of it as a gift. I had asked for it as a gift. I was planning to make the June top by Petite Knit, and over time I was thinking about the practicality of the shirt being a DK weight. I heard from multiple people that even though it's got a summery composition, it is 50% cotton, 30% silk, 10% viscose, and 10% polyamide. Even though it's got a summery composition, it's still quite a thick, warm yarn, and I would have to agree. 8-ply cotton feels quite thick and warm to me as well. So 8-ply cotton with silk and other stuff also feels quite a substantial yarn. Reading people's opinions on that, I decided to not go with the 8-ply camisole. It just didn't feel like a very practical garment for what I would be needing it for. And then one of the shops that sells this yarn in Australia was closing down, and they had it was a big sale. I don't know if it was like 40% off or 50% off. So I just bought another one. Then I had 2 balls of this to play around with. It comes in a 100-gram ball. So then even with having the extra yarn, I was umming and ahhing over what I wanted to make with it. I really wanted just a simple tee pattern to accentuate the yarn. I definitely wanted a stockinette, but I really wanted something that was well fitting around the shoulders and the bust. I was not vibing with the drop sleeve t-shirts that have been very trendy the past summer. And the really oversized ones, they just don't look very good on me. So I was on Instagram and I see Lily share a little sneak peek of her new design, the Calm Down Tee. I've knit the Calm Down cardigan before, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, that'd be perfect. And so I signed up to test, and this was a test knit, and this is my finished object, and I'm very happy with it. So the Calm Down series has a kind of like an altered rib pattern. An altered saddle shoulder with ribbing that goes down this way, as well as under the arm along the side of the body. It is, of course, not the most visible design feature in my yarn choice, but it still adds a little bit of interest. I wore this to a yarn market, and a couple of people definitely noticed and pointed out the saddle shoulder details. I think it is quite visible, even though I feel like it's not. What alterations did I do? I only did a little bit of the waist shaping down to about here, and then I knit straight, whereas Lily has them going all the way down to a crop, just because I thought that would be a more flattering fit on me. And the yarn is really strange to knit with, but it's so beautiful that I think I would work with it again. It's expensive, it's strange. So it's like a single ply DK weight cotton. It just feels like you're knitting with twisted cotton, which is pretty much what you're doing. It's very thick and thin. I was able to do a tubular sewn cast off. Just had to do it in slow sections, making sure I'm not pulling the yarn all the way just from the needle, and instead I would like hold the yarn closer to the point where I was pulling from and pull it in a couple of goes, just to not put extra tension all along the yarn. Yeah, that worked out great. It's very soft, very pleasant next to skin. It's just cotton mostly is how it feels like to me, and I'm very happy with it. I've gotten lots of compliments on it. It's a very, very fun piece. Yeah, I'm very happy. Could totally see myself making more of these tees in different colors. I don't know where I'm getting the time, but I would love more. Okay, so that's my first finished project. And then my second and I guess third finished project go together because they're the same pattern, and I've knit 2 pairs of socks. They're not blocked. I've knit one for my mom and one for my sister. So the first one, which is this one, isn't it so fun? The main yarn is Patons Kroy in the colorway Dad's Jacquard. It is a self-patterning yarn in this very funky colorway. And the heel is the only one that I did in a different yarn, and that is Nundle sock yarn in the colorway Mustard. So Patons Kroy is a thicker than average sock yarn. It is 152 meters per 50 grams as opposed to a standard sock yarn, which is 200 meters per 50 grams. And the recommended needle size on Ravelry is 2.7 to 3.5 millimeter, which I think is really big for this yarn. I just knit it on my normal 2.25 because my stepmom gets really cold feet and this would be really nice and toasty. And then I knit the same sock for my sister in a regular sock yarn, and the difference is not that much in the width. It's made of very thick and dense fabric, but it works out pretty well in 2.25 as well. I was a bit nervous about whether the knitting experience would be unpleasant, knitting a thicker yarn with a very like a relatively fine needle, but no, it felt fine. Oh, I almost forgot. She would have killed me. A lot of the body of this sock, of the first or the second sock, I don't remember, but my sister knit a big chunk of it, and she said she wants full credit. So she knit a lot of the body. Yeah, she knit a lot of the ribbing till the body, then I put the heel flap, and then she knit the foot of the sock all the way down to the toes. So my sister knows how to knit. She's 19. She knows how to knit. She was in the knitting like club at school is what she said. I'm not quite sure what they were knitting. And she keeps saying that no, I don't want to learn how to knit. It's fine. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you know, I'm going to uni now and I have things to do in the evening. I don't think I'll have that much time to knit. She's like young, living her life, blah, blah. And then she was visiting me for a few weeks. So every evening she was sitting and knitting, and I was teaching her how to hold the yarn so she gets a bit faster. She was still doing so I am an English thrower. She's also an English thrower. She was doing that thing where you like pick up the yarn and then like loop it around the needle. So I taught her how to like sort of hold it in her fingers so she's not picking it up each time and just doing that. And she started getting quite fast, I must say. And she was just, I would just come home and she would just be knitting. So I think I've got her, because the evening before she was leaving was when she reached she stayed up late to reach the correct length of the foot on the sock. And then she said, I don't want to know how to knit. I don't want to know how to knit. But can you just like explain to me how you would do the toe if I was going to knit? So I explained. explain to her how to do the toe. And then she's headed back to Melbourne, which is where she's going to uni. And then over text a few days later, I was showing her her sock. And she was like, oh, that looks great, And I was like, you know, next time you come and visit, like I can teach you how to do the whole sock. And I could set you up with needles and yarn and like have a kit ready for you to take. And she said, okay. So anywho, that was a long-winded tangent to say my sister also knit parts of this sock. So this is the first pair, and then the second pair, and they're both just the basic bee socks from Summerlee Knits. It's designed to be like a shorty, but I just extended the leg and I changed the ribbing. I think the pattern has a 2x1 ribbing, which is not my favorite, so I just do 1x1 ribbing, made the leg a bit longer, and there's just a basic heel flap and gusset sock. So this is the second one. So this is a pair for my sister. She chose these yarns out of my stash. My mom also chose these yarns out of my stash. And yeah, and I had all of my yarns out and I was like, pick whatever you want. And my mom's like, you're not spending too much money on these, are you? And I was like, no. Just pick a yarn, mom. Yeah, so the body of the sock is 3-cat yarns everyday sock, which is a 80/20 sock yarn in the colorway Coogee. And then the rib, heel and toe is again the Nundle sock yarn in the colorway Blue Gum. This went perfectly fine, seamless. I must say it's a rather beautiful color combination. I have a sock in this Coogee yarn already, but it looks very cute with this contrast heel and toe. And the Nundle sock yarn, I feel like it's a little bit splittier than the other sock yarns, but nothing that would put me off using it. It's nice and soft. Yeah. Little Miss I Don't Think I'll Knit Socks is knitting gift socks now. So those are my finished projects. Moving along to my works in progress. So my first whip is the Amy Slipover, which is a pattern by Sandnes Garn. It's a very popular pattern, and it's like a sort of a tie between a vest and a, what are they called, a tabard, where it's 2 flaps, like front and back, tied with the tie, and it has a really nice long collar, like a slouchy turtleneck collar. I'm using Juniper Moon Farms Patagonia in the colorway Rust. And I've just been knitting on it on and off. I've had some bigger projects I needed to do. I had a secret knit that I can't talk about that I finished up in the past couple of months, which makes 2 projects that you guys haven't seen yet, but I'll show you as soon as they're allowed to be shared. And so this is like sort of been my very occasional on the side knit project, more at my knit group. This is I've finished the back and now I'm doing the front. Then I just have to knit down straight, do some ribbing, and then we do the fun part of picking up the edges and doing the ribbing and the ties. So I'm excited to get to that point. I'm pretty close to finishing all of my test knit / knitting commitments. So I should have a bit more free time to work on my existing whips. I'm going to try and be good and not cast on anything new, because I've had a few whips that I really want to wear. I want to get done. I still have my mother-in-law's cardigan. I have a lot of things in the back, and I keep signing up for these test knits and projects that I am not doing anymore this year. If you see me doing a test knit, just, okay? Thank you, please. I just get so excited with new designs. I love test knitting for the designers I like. I don't like the social aspect of it. Is really not what draws me in. I tend to be quite absent on the test knit chats and forums and stuff. I just sort of keep an eye on it in case there's anything announced. I just like, I view it like giving back to the knitting community with my time and my effort, to designers I want to support. Yeah. So my next work in progress is also a test knit. How did you know? So this is the Milo the Jumper by Vera Marcu, who's a good knitting friend of mine. It is knit in Knit Picks High Desert Sport in the colorway Ponderosa Heather, and this yarn was provided to me from Vera for the test knit, so it's yarn support. I didn't pay for this yarn. It is a lovely yarn. I've seen Vera use it before, and when she offered yarn support to test, I definitely jumped on it. So I finished the body, which has this beautiful v-neck and these cables, and I've just started up on the sleeve. This has been a more enjoyable test knit process. Vera had a previous design that I was test knitting with yarn support, and I really didn't enjoy the lace pattern in it, and something about the knitting itself, and I know it wasn't just me, it was all of the test knitters saying it was not the most, I don't know what it was. I didn't enjoy it, and a lot of other testers didn't enjoy it. She ended up scrapping the design. So, but that was lace, which is not my, not my favorite out of the knitting techniques. However, I do love cables. I do love v-necks. So this one's going well. What's unusual about this garment is that the design, the cable goes all the way down to the bottom in the front and the back, and the ribbing only exists on this side. Hopefully you guys can see. I have some lighting because it's quite wintry. Hopefully it's all visible. So that's quite unique. The couple of things that was interesting in this was after splitting at the armhole, all of the cabling was done from the wrong side of the fabric, on the back as well as the fronts, which is not a thing I've ever done in any of my patterns before. I know some cables will have some cable patterns, just like some lace patterns will have the working row, the cabling row, or the lace row on the right side and the wrong side. I've never knit any of that kind. I've never knit a lace pattern with the working of the pattern on the wrong side, also not a cable. So this was the first time that I did cabling from the wrong side. Took a little bit of time to wrap my head around it. Sometimes I was literally wrapping my head around to look at the front to make sure I was cabling correctly. But that's a new skill in the brain bank. Yeah. So that's my main project at the moment. After I'm done with this, then I shall be going back and finishing my whips. My very many stagnant whips. And then my next work in progress is a quilt top. Woo! I'm trying a new craft. I've decided after making the baby blanket in the last episode for my friend, which literally killed me, that knitting baby blankets are not my thing, and I thought, hey, maybe I'll enjoy quilting them. So I was at Spotlight getting something else, and I had been umming and eyeing over quilting, and quilting fabric was on 40% off, and it felt meant to be. So I looked up a quick and easy baby blanket size quilt pattern. I must say it's quite big, so maybe I'll use it as a lap throw. I mean, we don't have a baby, so nobody's going to be using it as a baby blanket anyways. And I bought the yarn, the fabric. So I've done half of the quilt block. That's half, and then it's just an exact same amount up on the top to make a symmetrical, symmetrical square quilt. So my fabrics are very cute. I'm very happy with them. I love the lemon one, and this lovely gray one, and the polka dot. And I have a white and black polka dotted fabric for the backing. It was really fun. I feel like it's really improving my sewing in a straight line. ability, which is an ability that could really use some improvement. I only had to undo one seam, which was when I was assembling the quilt top, like the long strips, because I kind of sewed it a bit wonky and the squares didn't line up, but it lines up now. I just redid it, and yeah, I'm quilting. I'm quite enjoying it. I think I need to buy a better rotary cutter, because that part with my rotary cutter needing multiple goes and stuff was not fun in the cutting of the fabric. But all of this took me one evening to do, so maybe I'll just, you know, grit my teeth, just do the cutting and the sewing in one evening, and then I'm done with the quilt top. I am thinking of doing the quilting by hand, or at least part of it. I'm thinking of doing the stitch in the ditch once I put the basting and the backing by machine, but the decorative quilting that I want to go in between the squares, I think I'm going to do with like a thicker shashiko cotton thread. I've been really enjoying the website and the blog and the content from this she's Australian, couldn't tell you where she is, maybe Melbourne. She's called Jaws Makes Quilts, J-O-Z, Jaws Makes Quilts, and she has great like information on beginning, you know, like starting up your quilting journey, and some beautiful quilting patterns. And I saw her like how to hand quilt, and it looked really fun and meditative for me, to like sit in front of the TV and just do some stitching rather than spending time on the machine. But let me assemble the quilt with the backing and then see how it goes. And for the edging, I'm thinking of doing a self-binding quilt where I use the backing to sort of make the binding. I do not want to try bias binding at the moment. So as I kind of don't want to introduce another fabric, I'm happy with these. Whee! And then my last work in progress is my cross stitch. I've gotten quite a bit done on it. So this is the Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, and I have used the pattern from the Art of the Stitch, and I'm doing this on 18 stitch Ida, and I've been working on and off on it for about 2 years now, I'm not gonna lie, and I kind of feel a bit like gung-ho about finishing it up today. I really lost my steam on the swirls, but I sort of gritted my teeth, and I've actually managed to fill most of it in, because this bottom part is much more straightforward with more solid blocks, whereas the swirls, as you can see, is a bit chaotic. Oh, it's looking amazing though. I'm feeling very encouraged that I will get it done this year. I don't know if you guys can even see any progress with how infrequently I show it, but that's where I am. Yeah, those are my 4 whips. Okay, moving along to my acquisitions. I have a few things I'm very excited about. Firstly, end of last year, Woollen Works, who's a hand dyer based in Melbourne, Chloe, came out with her Barbie collection pre-order. I'm not much of a hand dyed yarn person. I'm also not much of a pre-order person, but you know what I am? A pinks person. So off I went, and I purchased 2, well, top and sweater quantities of yarn from the Barbie collection, and it arrived, I don't know, since the last episode I filmed, which would have been, I think it's coming up to 2 months now. So the first shirt quantity I got is this 4-ply fingering merino in the colorway Weird Barbie. Like, are you kidding? Like, look at this perfection. I am planning to make the Tonight top by Lily Kate France in this color. I think it'll be a stunning top. The yarn's very nice and soft. It is superwash. It is nice and soft, so I don't mind having it in the high neck. It's a high neck, but a sleeveless top, which might feel a bit counterintuitive in wool. However, I wear a lot of jackets, and I think I would get good use out of it. Or even for something that I can take the jacket off and be indoors in winter with a really fun top. So that's Weird Barbie. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I am not looking forward to the alternating skein stuff. That's always what what puts me off hand-dyed. However, this one will definitely need it, just by the way the accent colors are. It's not like a tonal. It's got pops of color, and I don't want to get pooling in this. So that was the first shirt quantity from the Barbie collection. And then the second shirt quantity, this was probably my favorite color out of what she did. This is Gloria, the colorway, and the yarn is a 4-ply fingering weight suri. And it's quite a fluffy yarn. I'm thinking of making a Cumulus blouse in this beautiful fuzzy pink gorgeous yarn. I do apologize if the lighting is a bit... It's not bright enough naturally for me in my house. It's quite bright outside. I considered filming outside, but it's too windy, so I'm using additional lighting. Hopefully the colors are still nice and visible to you. This is Gloria. She is beautiful and so soft, and she's shedding everywhere. I store yarns in Ziploc bags. She has her own Ziploc bag because she's shedding everywhere. That is always the downside of using mohair or suri. And actually, like, it really annoys me when I'm shedding, but it's worth it for this color. And this yarn's lovely too. And then my next acquisition is some yarn from Bendigo Woollen Mills. They have a new limited edition yarn out. It's called Whisper, and it's an 8-ply super fine merino, but it's what do you call it? It's spun like the 8-ply classic in the double crepe format. So this is the first colorway I got. It's called Espresso. It's like a beautiful chocolatey brown. And it's very soft. So for KukieKnits, usually I will use superwash and I will use merino, especially if I know the person doesn't wear a lot of, scratchy wools, or if I'm not sure if they could handle it, or if they're not sure they could handle it. So this is for my sister for her birthday later in the year. I am making a free V-neck sweater I saw on Ravelry. I think it's called the Haru V-neck. I'll link it down below. I'll pop a picture in. So because I usually use superwash merino, I don't like the super fine merino construction where it's like a bunch of really thin plies and it's like wound together to be this like really springy yarn, and if you like untwist it kind of falls apart, and it feels like it's so stretchy that when I feel like it messes with my tension when I'm looping it around the needle. Like I feel like just that section of the yarn stretches so much that like it's stretched, it's not actually looped. I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, it's not my favorite. The Filtura, is that the name of the yarn? Filtura di Crossa Zara. That's one of those yarns I've used before that has that super bouncy, super fine merino. So does one of the yarns from Morris & Sons. I think it's the Empire. It's that texture, if you know what I'm talking about. It's not my favorite to knit with it. However, I'm hoping that that kind of yarn, but in this double crepe construction, will be a little bit more pleasant to knit with, but also maybe it will make it a little bit less prone to pilling. Not sure about that. You know, whenever I make a gift knit for people, I tell them if you want a softer yarn, it is going to build. That's part of the fabric. You know, just use a fabric shaver, and most people are like, yeah. Okay, so that's Espresso. And I got another sweater quantity of it in their black. This is coal. It's just a very nice deep black. I had really been looking for a black superfine merino or superwash merino in a commercial price point. So when I saw Bendigo came out, I was like, oh, that's perfect, because I'm going to knit the Abydos sweater by Lily Kate France. Again, I've knit the top version of this. I haven't knit the sweater version of this for my cousin who's getting married next year. She chose this pattern out of the options I sent her, and she wanted it in a black, which I can totally see why. It would be so classy. And she wants it with a tapered sleeve, not with the balloon sleeve. So I think I can do that in the Bendigo Whisper. And then the next lot of yarns I got was, I was at a yarn festival in Hurstville. I think it was called All About Fiber. And I was there because Vera had a stall, and I was just hanging out with her, really. Helping is a strong word for what I was doing. I was just hanging out. And I was right next to Jokamamo Textiles, who is another dyer she's in Richmond. And I love her pinks. I've knit with her yarn before. I'm always eyeing her pinks. I knit a pair of socks in her yarn in the last episode. So I usually buy yarn with projects in mind. And then when a new project comes out and I want to knit it, I am quite hesitant on using yarn I already have for it, if I'm quite attached to the idea of the project. Like if I still want to make the project I've assigned it to. So I just end up buying more yarn, and my queue just starts getting quite long. I do swap yarns from intended projects if I want to, but most of the time it's something I want to make. So I bought this shirt quantity without a plan in mind. So this is Jokamamo Textiles Platinum Sock in the colorway Spring, which is a very appropriate name for this beautiful colorway. I have no plans. So I have a 4-ply shirt quantity with no plans for a new future pattern when it comes out. And then I also got this sock yarn in the colorway Pink Frosting. Again, this is Platinum sock, her base, which is 75/25. And this is to knit a sock out of a book that I will show you later. So those are my purchases from Jokamamo. I love this. And this was exactly what I needed for the project, but this is gorgeous. And then I also got some Holst Garn at the same festival from my friend Jane, who is Mindful Making AU, and she stocked some Holst yarn, and I got Holst Super Soft in the colorway Cossack, which is this very deep bluey green. It's definitely green, but with a blue undertone, very deep. Yeah, so I've got enough of this for a 4-ply sweater quantity, again, with no plans. This is very unlike me. No plans. Holes can also, of course, be held double to make 8-ply, so if a nice 8-ply vest comes out, or even I don't know, like I have quite a lot of yardage to play around with. So that's Holst Cossack. Planless in my stash. And then, because I am quilting now, I picked up a couple of secondhand books about quilting. So this one is super fun and some are quite simple. It's called Super Quick Colorful Quilts, and it has some really fun, I would say pretty straightforward basic patterns on there. Like just some simple pinwheels, different like block configurations, how to play with colors, how the same quilt can look depending on what you do with the color layout. And like I'm finding this a very fun and inspirational book. Yeah, like this is exactly the kind of quilting that I would like to do. Pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated, mostly because I don't have the skill to do complicated quilts. and colorful and lots of ideas and inspirations. So I'm very happy. Like, I love this one. Sherbet Twist. So this is a book by... Oh, so the quilts are all by different designers, but the book is called Super Quick Colorful Quilts, and it is edited by Rosemary Wilkinson. Yep, there we go. That's the first one. And then the second book I got is called The Quilter's Album of Blocks and Borders. And the lady in the dish stash stall said that it's one of the like holy grail books about quilting. And I can totally see that. However, it is very, very much not my skill set level. However, like, that's inspirational. I love getting ideas about the different textures, the contrast, and it has so many options of quilts and different blocks. And like 4-patch quilts, like, I don't know, never say never. Maybe I'll get to this level. I didn't start off knitting, you know, color work or cable jumpers. You have to start off somewhere. And then my final acquisition is the one I'm really excited about. So this is the sock project by Summer Lee. I love Summer Lee socks. They are always so fun and so inspiring and so colorful. So this book came out in February on Amazon. However, I didn't want to purchase my book off Amazon, so I put in an order with my local like indie bookstore, and it took them a while to get it in, which is fine. I'm not in a rush to get it, but I have it now. This book is like, I don't think I'll ever need another sock pattern again. I try not to make my sock knitting too complicated because I already am quite ambitious with my normal knitting, and I would like my sock knitting to be relatively easier and quick on the go rather than becoming a big whip, like a to-do whip instead of like a, you know, I carry a sock around kind of thing. But it has all the different heels with the instructions, really good pictures, like really good pictures with the instructions. Has all kinds of heel, afterthought, peasant's heel or something, German short row, Fliegel heel, all the heels possible. And then in the back it has 25 sock patterns. Additionally, it has how to do a fade, stripes, cable, mock cables, ribbing, DK weight, mohair, lace, like any kind of sock. Like, this is about the most complicated I would want to do a cable sock, I'm not gonna lie. It's a great book. I really like the layout of it. Like, I like that the stitch counts are all in bold, so you can, like, your eye jumps quick onto where the information is. I really like the layout of the book, and I love that. I'm pretty sure I just love it because it's pink and red. However, I've decided to aim high and do one complex sock project, because why not? I want to do these colorwork socks called the Scandiland socks. Isn't it stunning? I'm gonna aim for it. I'm gonna aim for it. So this is the sock that I bought here we go. So that's what I got the pink yarn for. I already have mustard in my stash, which I used for the heel there. So I have mustard, and it has a little like red and blue section there. I think I'm going to skip the red. I'm just going to use white, the white that you use there where the red is, and I'm going to use a blue where the blue is. So I'm just waiting on some white sock yarn to arrive into, I placed an order at Morrison Sons. They're going to give me a ring when they get it from their warehouse, because white sock yarn is always sold out. And then I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it for this sock. Exciting! So those are all my acquisitions and all that I've been up to with my quilting and cross stitching and some knitting. I've been busy doing lots of different things, not making as visible progress in one particular project, but I'm really feeling my mojo, my knitting mojo come back in. I'm excited about working through my whips. I'm thinking of doing a little video with, you know, like working on my lingering whips and going through them and finishing them off. And I think filming that process will like encourage me further to stick to it. I'm going to try and finish a couple of my really quick, easy, long time marinating UFOing whips. And then I really need to work on my mother-in-law's jumper, my mother-in-law's cardigan. I want to finish it by Christmas because it was a Christmas present for last year that I was intending to give it to her by this winter, but I haven't gone around to knitting it at all. So that's where I am. What are you guys up to? What are you knitting on? Have you tried any new crafts recently? Pop it down below. I love reading your comments and having conversations there. And if you have any video ideas for me, let me know. I've been quiet. I don't know, like I've been having chats with my friend M about, you know, like video ideas, and she was suggesting like doing a from beginning to end sort of knitting project vlog. However, my I never look okay enough to like film most of the time when I'm knitting. I look feral and my couch is always covered in shit. The lighting's bad. My husband's very against being out in like my public internet presence. He's quite a private person. He doesn't want to be on there, so the filming aspect is a little bit hard working around all of those things. I'll give it a go. I mean, you guys are not here for the aesthetics, right? So I'll give it a go. I think it'll be fun to bring you along, and hopefully it'll inspire you guys to finish your whips too. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.